Hey, what if I told you playing games are one of the best ways to learn, right? Well, they are, but I'm not going to be discussing that today specifically, but actually using that theory here today on this episode. In fact, I'm doing something completely different from my usual videos because today we're going to play a game, all right? And this is how it goes. So I'm basing this game on a case study of one of my favorite clients. And what you'll do is everyone who's watching and playing along, you start with 10 points. So you're going to need some math skills because what we're going to do, anytime you miss a question, of course, the answers are of my opinion and how we implemented this with my client. You may think your answer is right, but I'm telling you right now, I'm taking editorial control here and say my answers are correct. And if you don't have the same answer as me, it's going to be minus some points. All right, so you have to keep track. Okay, and what we'll do is I'll ask a question, and if you get it right, great. If you don't, it's going to be minus some points. What is that, second grade math or so? So get ready. All right. But a little background here, okay? So my client, one of my favorite clients, she is a president of a nonprofit, a statewide nonprofit here in North Carolina. She is also a serial entrepreneur, has several businesses on the side as well, okay? So you can imagine right away, she's very busy, okay? She is super sharp. Kind of person that when you see her in a meeting, you'd be like, whoa, she must be a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. I mean, she's just well put together, very slick, super smart. Okay. So again, keep in mind how busy she is because on our first one-on-one visit, I walk into her office. Remember, I said she looked super sharp, but I walk into her office and literally her hair looked like she had been hit with lightning. I mean, it was standing on ends because she was pulling it out of frustration. Okay, frustration in everything she had going on. She was overwhelmed. She's overworked, mentally and physically exhausted. And as I walk into her office, I notice this massive wall calendar covered with color-coded sticky notes. In fact, it looked like a piece of art, but it leads into today's first question. And this is question one. All right. Who out there, you viewers, who here or who out there manages their time using a day planner, a digital tool, some kind of calendar thing? So maybe it's a wall planner. Maybe it's one of those old-timey desk planners. I don't know. If you use that to manage time, right? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Okay. All right. So if that's you, that's minus 2 points. And this is why. Okay, so when I met with her, one of the first things I did over 3 days was begin to collect some data on her energy. Okay, so the strategy is to stop managing time and start managing energy. So I studied her energy. When was her low energy? When was the high energy? What was she working on during the peak and the troughs? What was triggering? Sometimes things trigger high energies or they trigger you to go into low energy. What was it? We were looking for patterns. And it was really some early patterns, just they were there. They were easy to see. Anybody could see them. And she would block off during her morning high energy. So she had high energy from about when she got there in the morning up until about 11 o'clock. Then it began to trough down until about 2:30, 3 o'clock, and then it peaked again. And so she would block off time during her low energy, like at 1:30 to 2:30 to work on her high value projects. But first thing in the morning, she was doing email, right? A menial task. That's a low energy type task, okay? So completely backwards. And so this was an easy fix. We just flipped it. So now she works on her high value important projects in that morning. And then during her low energy periods, she's working on those menial things, email, communications, paperwork, okay? And just always remember this, time management is a myth. Energy management is everything. All right, moving to question number 2. How many of you get into such a deep flow state. Now, flow is when you're in the zone, right? So you're in the zone and you work 2, 3, 4 hours without realizing it. Maybe even forget lunch. You know, how many people out there have done that or do that once or twice a week where you're in that flow, right? All right. Okay. Raise your hands. All right. That's -4 points because this is what's going on. She mentioned to me that there's been many times. In fact, the day before, she said she was in flow for like 3 hours and she missed lunch. Okay? Flow is actually a good thing when structured appropriately. So you remember we measured her energy levels? So what we put into place, and this is really the second strategy, is to structure flow around her high energy peaks for deep work. Okay, so we put in place 90-minute flow sprints. She actually puts on an alarm, and at the end of those 90 minutes, boom, she's done. Move on to the next task. And why is it? Why is that 90? It could be 60 to 90 minutes. Well, physiologically, that's just the sweet spot for your brain, right? Beyond that, it begins to wear. It's like a muscle, right? Do you work out nonstop doing hundreds and hundreds of reps for hours? No, your muscles get tired. They need to recoup. They need to recover. Your brain is the same way. And so by structuring the flow sprint, 60 to 90 minutes, it was an effective way for her to do deep work on these projects. And then she would use her low time again for that email. So just be sure to structure your flow sprints during your peak energy for ultimate results, okay? So that was strategy number 2. Question 3 though, okay? And again, I'm looking at you viewers. How many of you feel the need, and I really want to emphasize feeling the need to take breaks. You feel the need to take breaks after each task on your most busy day. You've got 100 things to do. Everything is squeezed into this day, but you still feel the need to take breaks. Raise your hand. Okay, you're getting scared to raise your hand, I'm sure. Maybe you're sitting in your living room and your family's wondering what you're doing, but okay. So this time, if you didn't raise your hand, it's -2 points, okay? And this is the strategy. Sometimes you have to slow down to speed up. So my client would try to power through. She talked about that flow sprint for 2-3 hours, missing lunch. Or she would do all her tasks and wouldn't take any breaks. And what she found, she was so exhausted at the end of the day, and anything she was working on after lunch was just difficult, and she felt brain fog. So what we implemented with her was after every task, after everything, she takes a 10 or 15-minute break. And what she likes to do is go a walk out in nature and breathe, walk around the office building and breathe. But you can get a healthy snack, go get some green tea or do something for 10, 15 minutes that is away from that mental complex work that you're doing, okay? You could close your door, shut off all distractions and meditate for 10 minutes, right? Just 10 minutes. Try it. It works, right? So, breaks. That was our strategy, right? We call this radical rest for radical results. 15-minute break, 10-minute break after each task. Throw in some healthy snacks, walking, breathing, whatever. And this will just exponentially help you do better. And it's going to keep you mentally and physically rested. Now, this final question, we're going to move away from the office and we're going to move into the home. And I want you to look around. Do you have something laying around in your house that you've been meaning to fix? A broken chair, a broken clock. Or, how about this? You have some old clothing that really should go to Goodwill or be thrown out. Man, I used to have these socks with big old holes in them and my toes stuck out. Why? Why was I keeping those? All right? I don't know. So, do you have some of that laying around? Okay. If you raised your hand, if you see something broken, that's -2 points. And this is why. It's because your environment reflects your mindset. So my client had these ripped chairs in her office and a desk that looked like she found it on the side of a highway or something. And she wasn't hurting for money. And yet, she complained about being broke. And she had what we discovered. It's pretty easy to discover, again, because your environment reflects your mindset, was the classic scarcity mentality. She'd become a victim of her own success, but these broken things, this raggedy couch or in their desk, was like putting up a roadblock to abundance. It's subconsciously telling your brain that it's okay to stay broke. I don't need more. And that's not what you want. You want to be open. You want to lower your resistance to abundance by eliminating these things from your sight. Don't tell your subconscious that it's okay to have broken things. All right. And it doesn't mean spending frivolously. Right. It means living rich. Quit living broke. And that's what we implemented with her. So we flipped those beliefs. And we even did this. She now has a mantra that she uses in her meditation. And I love it. And you should steal this. It's, I attract opportunities, abundance, and true joy effortlessly into my life. I attract opportunities, abundance, and true joy effortlessly into my life. And I have to credit, it was a YouTube channel. I think it's called Boho Beautiful Meditations. There was a meditation where they were using that mantra in that meditation. And I pulled it out and spoke it to her, and she loved it. And she uses it. All right. So I attract opportunities, abundance, and true joy effortlessly into my life. I'll put a link down to that YouTube channel because I really like their meditations, because this actually moves into the next strategy. And there's no question here, but this is what you need to do, is be like her. She now in the mornings meditates a minimum of 10 minutes, right? And she listens to affirmations. And she does this because through our encouragement, it's a way to really charge your energy for the day, get mentally ready for the day, okay? And then at night, she does grounding activities, grounding exercises to clear the mental noise of the day so that she can rest. But if you do that, it's so you can rest as well, okay? So meditate in the morning, affirmations in the morning, supercharge your energy at night, a mindfulness exercise or meditate to clear that mental noise so you can rest, okay? All right, tally it up. Do you have 10 points? Or did you fall down to 8, 6, 4 points? I don't know where you landed. But the thing is, it doesn't matter, because you win, because you stayed on throughout this video, you listened to it, and hopefully you'll take these 5 strategies and implement them into your day, right? Because it's going to elevate your career, your business, or your life. So I appreciate you. Thanks for playing along. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. It helps the channel out. We'll have more videos. Hey, maybe we'll do some more games like this, okay? But we'll see you in the next one. And so, as always, stay strong. Take care, y'all.